So, Gemma, please
Right.
tell us how you first got interested in CBD and what CBD itself is.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll start with what CBD is. So CBD is one of many cannabinoids found naturally in the cannabis sativa plant, hemp plant, basically. Unlike THC, which I think a lot of us have heard about in cannabis, CBD has no psychoactive properties and, in fact, has a huge amount of health benefits. Extensive studies have shown that these benefits include helping with stress, anxiety, inflammation, sleep. Every day, new reports come out about CBD, and we're learning more and more every day. And I feel like this sort of miracle ingredient that everyone's talking about is really living up to that, and the benefits are incredible. The other thing to say is that it's been found completely safe by the World Health Organization.
So how did that interest actually lead you to founding your business?
So what happened was we actually decided to move back to the UK. We had a little boy, Leo, 4 months at the time, and my husband James got offered a CEO role at 31 Dover here. So it was an opportunity we wanted to take. So we came back to the UK, and it kind of coincided with CBD becoming legal here. So obviously that was music to my ears, and I dashed down to the high street to get myself some CBD. And honestly, I was really disappointed with what I found. Most brands were actually not putting enough CBD in, and by enough I mean not even enough to have any effect at all. You know, CBD is expensive, so there is a price sensitivity, and if you don't put much in, then it's not that expensive, but it also doesn't do anything. I didn't feel that the products were me. All the products that were out there were tinctures, where you have to open your mouth, stick your tongue out, drop a few drops of oil under your tongue. Often it tastes revolting. You wouldn't do it on a tube or in public, or, it felt weird and wrong and strange. And I didn't understand why this amazing thing that could be so beneficial to people was being delivered in this really, what I felt was not a modern or interesting way.
You are collaborating with some really interesting and really varied people. So how long did it take to get all of those people together?
It definitely took time. It wasn't easy, but more because we actually had so much interest, and we knew we wanted to be very specific and clear about who we wanted to be involved. Obviously, people talk about the cannabis industry as being this new, huge industry and how exciting it all is. And, there's an attraction for people to be involved for, I would say, the wrong reasons. So I think for us, we were super keen to find people that had a passion and an interest in CBD, but also wanted to really push that further. And, what is the absolute best way I can enjoy CBD, and how can it taste the best, and how can the experience be the best? Having a scientific team involved was really important. So we got Dr. Michael Haslam involved, and Dr. Ketan Joshi, who's a renowned food scientist. And that was super important. I mean, I have to say, probably my husband James was pretty important and influential in the whole process. And, when you start your own business, you have to accept that it becomes a child, a second child. And for me, it was super important to have him involved. And obviously his experience with drinks and with bringing brands to the market was invaluable.
Why do you think that the US and other countries, I'm thinking Amsterdam maybe, are so far ahead of us in the UK when it comes to understanding and marketing CBD?
I think mainly because of the legalities. Ultimately, it's been legal in a lot of other countries for a long time. People have had a chance to learn, become educated, experience. I think, honestly, perhaps the UK is a little bit more risk averse or cautious as well.
Which kind of goes on to my next question. What are some of the challenges that you've had to face marketing CBD in the UK?
It's huge challenges, really. I mean, ultimately, even though CBD and cannabis is such a hot topic here, people still don't understand it, and there's a lot of misunderstanding out there, misguidance, people not talking about it in the right way. So there is a huge piece to do on the education, and unfortunately, there's restricted platforms that we're allowed to advertise on, so that makes it quite difficult to educate people.
Can you tell us a little bit more about how you're working with Cami Vidal on the CBD bitters?
It was an instant connection. She has a really interesting ethos around wellness and health. What Cami's done is she's created a range of drinks that also pulls a lot of other really interesting ingredients that also have health benefits and that are also functional. But also she's made it absolutely delicious, so you can really enjoy that. We had a lot of fun with her in the lab, or whatever you want to call it, trying and testing and making sure they were absolutely amazing.
We first met you at the Imbibe show and heard some of their future in the drinks industry panellists talking about the fact that younger people are looking for less intoxicating ways to get their enjoyment than alcohol, and that CBD is one of those strands. So have you found this to be true? What would you say the demographic profile of your customers is so far?
Yeah, definitely. We're seeing a huge movement towards the low and no alcohol. And there's a big interest in functional drinks as well. And plenty of studies to show that this is the case in the new generations coming up. I think I'd say that our customers are very mixed, because ultimately the benefits of CBD are quite huge and far-reaching. So therefore, it's great for everyone. And the flavour's great, it tastes great, and it's interesting. So yeah, generally everyone.
So please tell us what your plans are for growth of the CBD bitters.
Our vision for the CBD bitters is for OTO to become a new category of drinks. So when people are thinking about what they might like to drink, they can think about having an alcoholic drink, a no alcoholic drink, and then also a OTO CBD drink. And I think for us that will be the ultimate goal when we reach that point where people are thinking, I want CBD.
Who are some of the characters or people in food and drinks or the health industry that have most inspired you?
I think that people who are really authentic and believe in what they do and have a real vision, maybe even to create a new category or have a very ethical founding, I'd say like Ben Branson, for example. Charles and Tim from Feed the Tree, like that reinvention of a category, I think in a premium way, that's just fabulous. Love that. And I think I'd say Anita Roddick from The Body Shop. Like ultimately, the woman found hemp before everyone else believed in it and pushed it forwards, and I think that's really inspirational to me.
Great. I mean, she's coming up quite a few times now. It's really funny because I interviewed Renee Elliott a couple of weeks ago, and she said the same. She said Anita Roddick is like her big inspiration,
incredible.
And someone else mentioned Anita Roddick to me the other day as well. And it's just like suddenly everyone's like, which is good, I suppose, because I'm now talking about strong women, and it's good that people are remembering what she did to transform that whole beauty and health thing.
And it was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago,
amazing.
ages ago.
We have a double link to her because Antonia Jamison, who's one of our directors, worked for her originally. So I feel like I've got like a little inside track into some of the things. So
it's such a great woman. Okay, so the next three questions are ones that I tend to ask everyone. You're on a desert island. What's the one ingredient that you couldn't live without? And is there one dish type that you could live on forever?
I think I'd have to say tomatoes, because they're the most sort of flexible and versatile, and we used to grow them as children, so going into the greenhouse and that kind of smell and the whole thing's got a lovely kind of vibe for me. So in terms of the ingredient, I'd say that. Very hard. Dish would probably be my mum's lasagna. Yeah, it's awesome.
Great. I can see why, because it's such a comforting food, and if it's made really well, it's so good.
Yeah, and it's homey.
Yeah,
and it's just lovely.
Yeah. No, it's really great. What are some of the advantages of being a woman in the drinks industry?
Okay, so I'd say that the industry is still really male dominated. I think one of the advantages is that The women that are in the drinks industry are incredible and generally pretty supportive. There's a lot of openness and support that you can get through that. I also think that women do bring a fresh viewpoint, and ultimately this is quite an ancient industry, and that viewpoint is really interesting.
Finally, what's the biggest piece of advice you could give to someone who wanted to start their own health business? Or putting it another way, what do you know now that you wish someone had told you when you were first starting out?
I think two things. The first is that you cannot stress how important team is, and it's not about surrounding yourself with people that are the same as you. It's about getting, that opposite approach. And, if you're in the health industry, then make sure you've got that scientific grounding always. I think I would say that. I think the other thing is that it is twice, if not 3 times as hard as you ever think it's going to be. And I think that you just really have to believe in what you're doing, and having that real core belief ultimately is necessary to be able to get through the tough times.
Perfect. Well, thanks so much, Gemma. It's been really great talking to you.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.